Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about Skinamarink. Let's get into it. Skinamarink is a 2022 film starring Ross Paul, Lucas Paul, and is directed by Kyle Edward Ball. Two children wake up in the middle of the night to find their father is missing and all the windows and doors in their home have vanished. So first things first, this is going to be a non-spoiler review with very little, if any, actual story detail. I'm just going to give you guys a general breakdown of what I liked about the film and what I didn't like. And most of what I do like about this film, right off the bat, is a lot of what I said about Terrifier 2. I like the fact that this movie even exists and we were able to get it in theaters. However, in the case of Terrifier, I liked that aspect better than the actual movie itself. Whereas here I actually did enjoy the movie. But I always champion independent filmmakers, and it makes me happy anytime I see a filmmaker outside of the Hollywood studio sector succeed. We've seen more and more of them step up to the plate here in the last 4 or 5 years, or at least it feels like we have, especially with all of the quality fan films we've gotten on YouTube even. But as far as this movie itself, while I've never actually done it myself, I imagine this is the movie equivalent of an acid trip. The way this movie was shot was just so unique. I've seen some people say they didn't like it, but I think it was very experimental and ambitious, and I personally like that. I think there were a lot of very interesting creative choices in the way they frame shots. For example, many times the camera will just linger in the corner of a room or the corner of a ceiling or just off somewhere in a seemingly random part of the house with no apparent purpose. But as the movie and story unfold, you start to figure out that just about every scene in this movie is a deliberate creative choice with a purpose. It never gives us a clear shot of any person in this movie. It's always a high shot or a low shot or a blurry shot, or sometimes you don't see them at all, you just hear them speaking off in the background. I actually enjoyed trying to decipher this movie and all of the scenes. Another creative choice I really enjoyed was the film grain. And I imagine that will be pretty off-putting for a lot of people, but for me it added to the atmosphere in a way that I can't even really explain without you just watching the movie and seeing it for yourself. The movie by itself really isn't a very scary concept for me personally, but it all came down to the execution. It's all the creative choices they used to give it such a gritty feel that basically all culminate into what I believed was a pretty creepy little movie. But as far as any negatives, I guess the major one is this movie won't work for everyone. I don't think there's any obvious negatives because the fact that all the creative choices that are going to be so divisive were deliberate. So I think it was technically a well-made film, but anytime you get such an experimental film like this, it polarizes audiences. It just does. We've seen it with Blair Witch Project in '99, and we've seen it with the Paranormal Activity. This type of filmmaking and visual storytelling will just simply not be for everyone. So honestly, as far as recommending this film, it's hard for me to say emphatically that you should just go rush out to see this movie because it will have such a subjective appeal. So ultimately, I would say just know who you are as a person and as a moviegoer. You know your own taste better than anybody, so if you think a low-budget movie with unconventional and experimental filmmaking tactics sounds like a good time, or even if you saw the trailer for this film and you liked what you saw there, then I'd say you'll probably like it. And if you saw the short film, Heck, on YouTube made by the same people, you'll absolutely like it because that was the concept for this movie. But if you weren't on board with any of that, then you probably won't enjoy this movie. All I can say is that if you do choose to go see this movie, I hope you go into it with an open mind because that's your best chance of enjoying it. Not saying you'll absolutely enjoy it, but at least then you can say that you honestly gave this movie a fair shot. Now for me, the only thing that really holds it back for me personally is I don't think I'll ever have much of a desire to watch this movie again. It's definitely a one-time experience for me, and while I did enjoy the ride, it's a one and done for me. And if you've been keeping up with my videos up until now, you'll know that rewatchability is a big thing for me when grading a movie. So that being said, for a rating, I'm giving this movie a 7.5. But anyways, that's it for this one, guys. Have you seen Skinamarink? What did you think of it? Let me know down in the comments section below, or find me on one of my socials, which are in the video descriptions of all my videos, and we can discuss it. In the meantime, go ahead and like and share this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.